Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into episode 3 of Death Note. If you've been following along, you know things are heating up fast. In episode 2, we saw Light trying to juggle his normal life with his secret identity as Kira, while Ryuk continued to hang around, causing Light to become more paranoid. We also got introduced to the mysterious detective L, who's already hot on Kira's trail. Tension really escalated when Light fell into L's trap, thinking he killed him live on TV, only to realize it was a setup to narrow down his location. Now, the battle of wits between these two geniuses has officially begun, and Light is determined to find out who L is and eliminate him. I'm super excited to see how this rivalry develops in episode 3, so let's get into it. I gotta admit, it's kind of nice to get back into these other animes because not that I don't dislike Attack on Titan, I absolutely love the show. It's fantastic, but I've been wanting to watch some of these other episodes of these other shows, so kind of glad to begin back into it.
Greetings to all of you at the ICPL. I am L. Whether the guilty party is an individual or a group, there's a strong possibility that they're Japanese.
Kira, I've got a pretty good idea what your motivation might be, and I can guess what you hope to achieve. However, what you're doing right now is evil.
You bastard.
Try to kill me.
I am justice. I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who become the god of a new world.
This rivalry between L and Light's going to be very interesting, I think. I mean, both of them seem extremely intelligent, so yeah. But I mean, it seems like Light is becoming more and more paranoid.
World that everyone desires. Kira, I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding, and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
Dealings should be interesting.
All right, let's start with the tip line reports.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email.
Wow.
Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him. All 14 accounts were followed up on and carefully documented. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira. We didn't want to rule anything out, so we followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
All right, on to the victim reports.
Yes, sir. Upon further investigation, we have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Kind of get a feeling that the police don't exactly trust L either. Which, I mean, I guess I kind of understand considering he's an outside investigative force, and he's, in a way, kind of telling them what to do, which I'm sure they don't like.
on weekdays, local time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m.
And it doesn't help that he's very mysterious and doesn't exactly give them the trust, you know.
Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
That information is extremely relevant for us. It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student. Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong.
I'll give L credit, he's right on the nose so far. I mean, that describes light to the T.
This is mere speculation at this point, but still I recommend you re-examine any assumptions you've made as to whether or not our suspect could be a student. We must consider every possibility. I believe that is the shortest route to finding and arresting Kira. Please continue with your report.
Huh. Oh, right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to add?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, but especially here in Japan, we've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
That kind of makes sense considering everything that's been going on. I mean, naturally, violent crimes should start going down if the criminals think they're going to get killed by this Kira.
Well, I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
No.
Well, that about sums up our report for today. Elle?
Thank you, everyone. I feel we're one step closer to finding Kira. Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. This is directed to the teams investigating the victims, TV news, and internet. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
I'll leave it to you.
Chief! You look like you could use one of these. Sleeping much?
Ah, thank you. That'll do the trick. I feel all these late nights are starting to take their toll.
About what I said earlier at our meeting. Well, now that I think about it, I'm sure everyone already knew that. I wanted to apologize.
What on earth are you talking about? Nobody said it would be easy to speak the truth, but it has to be done, especially when it's something that isn't easy to say.
Huh?
Having said that, if you'd gone on to say that we should commend Kira for doing such a great job of reducing violent crime, then yes, I might have had a little problem with.
Yeah, I would imagine he probably would. I mean, hell, even I would have if I was the police. I mean, yeah, what he's doing is helping us, but it's also wrong.
That.
Oh no, no, I wouldn't. That would never happen.
I'm just kidding.
I knew I could count on you, Light.
Hey, so do you think
Ryuk always looks so bored. It kills me. He's an interesting character.
you're ready to try a few on your own now?
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. Oh, sounds like Dad's home.
Welcome home, dear.
Thank you.
He's home really early today.
Hey! Why don't you at least try the last problem by yourself?
I will, but maybe after dinner.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Helping your sister with her homework, you sure are relaxed.
Of course. If the police try to come after me, I'm pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage. Hey, glad you could join us for dinner.
Confident?
That's right. It's easy for me to hack into that.
Oh shit. I never thought about that. With his dad, the lead investigator in this, he can get into his files and see exactly what the police know. Wow, he's smart, man. He's impressive. I mean, he's deranged, but he's impressive.
Dad's computer. We're on a home network, so I Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's...
I don't know if I can trust Ryuk. I mean, he doesn't seem to be really taking anyone's side, either Light or the police's. But he seems to be causing Light. He seems to be causing him more paranoia, you know?
name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Ryuk?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I? Looks like I'll be...
Wonder how he's getting all these names because he also has to know their faces. I mean, is he getting all this information from the police also? Or is this just a normal thing in Japan where they release all that information? Because I never see anything like that here in the States. I mean, unless it's a major crime and it's reported on the news and they show the suspects' mugshots or something like that.
Inmate 148, what's wrong? Snap out of it!
Damn.
What? I don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Yes.
The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
It does punch some holes in the...
That's a lot of damn people. That's 50 people. What, they said 2 days? Damn.
theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not. Anybody can skip 2 days of school.
You're missing the point. It does appear less likely now that Kira's a student, but that's not the message he's sending by doing this. Ask yourselves, why every hour? And why are all these victims in prisons where they are sure to be discovered immediately? Why not other criminals like before? I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
Man, Elf picks up all this stuff so quickly.
But something's not right.
For what little we've seen of L, he seems like a student himself. I mean, he looks very young.
Hell is probably starting...
Them to find you, then when they just...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, if they suspect that they have someone connected to the police getting this information, Wouldn't that just maybe bring them closer to light?
Don't trust each other at all. Think about it.
That's true. I see where he's coming from. Create more distrust between the investigators and L. Yeah. Okay. I think I know what he's thinking. It's scary.
What's this about?
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning. We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Yeah, I can understand why they would want to resign. With the way things are going with Kira, they're probably afraid that if they're discovered that they're helping investigate, that Kira will start targeting the police.
Why? You're good cops.
Isn't it clear? It's because we value our lives, sir.
If what Elle says is true, Kira has some ESP-like power that somehow allows him to kill people indirectly, from anywhere.
Well, if I were Kira, sir, I'd probably want to try and get rid of the people who were trying to catch me.
Let's face it, he knows he'll be sentenced to death if he's caught.
We all sat here and watched when Elle decided to pull that media stunt and challenged Kira to kill him. Well, it was all very impressive at the time. But then again, Elle never had to show his face or reveal his name, for that matter. I'm sure you recall...
I still can't get over the fact that Elle actually used someone as bait and purposely knew that they were probably going to be killed. That to me doesn't sit right with me.
Elle's last request, he asked that we take a closer look at how these victims' identities were made public, and specifically to determine whether photos of the victims were available to the public prior to their deaths. Well, it turns out he was right. Every single one of those victims' names and photos were broadcast to the Japanese public, and then they died. Unlike someone we know, we're out there investigating this case wearing police IDs with our names and photos on them. Anybody with a computer can find out who we are. We don't hide our faces, we're out in the open.
Sir, the truth is we could be killed by Kira at any time.
For these reasons, we refuse to continue working this case. Excuse us, Chief.
Hey, stop! All of you! Hold it right there!
I don't blame the officers, to be honest with you. I really don't.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept that x squared equals large x. Now pay attention because this is important. Before we tackle more complex quadratic equations, we have to start thinking of large x's value as simply the multiple of two integers. Now, let's apply this concept to our first problem.
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
Oh, he's got the American FBI investigating the Japanese police. Ooh, that's a bit touchy, I would think.
And this is the complete list?
Yes.
There are 141 people in the police force who have access to classified information regarding the investigation. I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Light, you got a second?
I already told you, Ryuk. You can't talk to me in public. How many times do I have to tell you?
In that case, I'll talk, you just listen. If you don't want to hear me, you can plug your ears or something. First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person. I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or El's side.
Yeah, well, I knew
Sort of figured that already.
that much already.
You'll never hear me say anything about whether what you're doing is right or wrong. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion, I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
As your roommate? Well, I guess you can call him roommate.
What's this about, Ryuk? Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
So is L having family members followed? That was quick. Wow. And with that, that just makes him even more paranoid.
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Who would be following me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police? If he's gonna investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior. But the longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above all, I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light.
See, this is the thing. I mean, Light started out just targeting the criminals, but now that he believes he's being investigated, he's not afraid to kill those that's going.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You know, you sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life.
So the Shinigami aren't immortal. Is that what I'm getting?
So it means that as long as we don't slack off, even if someone was to shoot us in the head, or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand...
Oh, okay. So they can't die from any other way other than their lifespan being expended. Makes sense.
No matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase. That is the first difference between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
That's something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before. Pretty interesting stuff.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Oh, don't tell me. The more he writes in the death note as a human, the shorter his life becomes. Is that what he's getting at?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. And do you have any
Okay, I was wrong. Sorry.
idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Their name and lifespan?
That's right. I'm able to see your name and lifespan right now.
Interesting.
If I converted that to human time, I could tell you how many years you've got left, but there's no way I'd ever tell you that. I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far. Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. And every time we do take a life, we always know exactly how many years we're going to receive. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I. However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami. But...
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, with that power, Light would be able to see anyone's name.
only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
And what's the deal?
The price for having a Shinigami's eyes is half of that person's remaining lifespan.
Oh, wow.
That's all it is.
Half of my remaining lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the way Light's going, his lifespan's probably not going to be very long, because he's probably going to end up getting caught eventually.
In other words, if you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25. If it was one more year, then 6 months.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I wanted to kill. Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone.
I mean, for Light, I would imagine that's very tempting, but he's smart enough to probably not do it. I mean, I could be wrong.
One's name just by looking at them. If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, what'll it be, Light? Is it a deal?
Of course, he's not going to let us know now. That was a good episode. Alright, so in episode 3 of Death Note, titled Dealings, we see the tension really starting to ramp up. The police task force is overwhelmed with tips and calls from people claiming to be Kira, while L narrows down his suspicions, thinking Kira is likely a student. Light is busy trying to stay ahead of the investigation, even hacking into his father's computer to keep track of what the police know. Meanwhile, Ryuk drops some major bombshells about the powers of the Death Note, including the tempting offer of the Shinigami eyes. We also see Light's paranoia growing as he devises plans to create distrust between L and the place. The stakes are definitely getting higher. This episode was another intense chapter in the ongoing cat and mouse game between Light and L. The way Light has been manipulating events while staying right under his father's nose adds so much tension, especially since his father is leading the investigation. Ryuk's revelations about the Death Note's powers were intriguing, especially the deal with the Shinigami eyes. It's a clever way to test Light's resolve and add even more temptation into the mix. The building distrust between police and L is a great twist, making the situation even more complex. I'm loving how the series is unfolding. This episode was no exception. I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching my reaction to episode 3 of Death Note. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more reactions. If you want to dive deeper into my thoughts, you can read my full reviews over on my Anime List blog. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm really excited to see how this battle between Light and L continues to develop. So stay tuned for the next episode. Take care, guys.